Welcome, true believers. This is another episode of Back Issue Breakfast Club. I'm Hollis Thompson, the host of the Sunday Morning Superheroes podcast here on the Back of the Cereal Box podcast network. And the reason we do this show is to bring some more awareness to comic books in general. All of the hosts on this network pretty much have grown up with comic books. They've been a formative part of our lives. And they're an art form that doesn't get as much love these days as they have in the past. Back in the 1940s, the 60s, the 80s, comic books were one of the great mass media of American pop culture. But today, only a few people tend to read comic books compared to the wider population. And we're doing our part to bring attention to some really, really great comics throughout history that perhaps you haven't heard of and might be inspired to take a bite out of in the future. Today, I want to talk to you about one of, in my opinion, the most underappreciated stories of the Silver Surfer. This is a creation of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby from way back in the original run of Fantastic Four. This character is the herald of the planet devourer Galactus, but he turned against his master when he met the Fantastic Four on Earth and fought to protect Earth from Galactus. At the end of that battle, Galactus promised never to destroy the Earth, but he imprisoned the Silver Surfer on Earth as punishment for him turning against him. This comic that I want to talk to you about is called Silver Surfer Parable from 1989. It was a 2-issue limited series from Marvel written by the Silver Surfer's co-creator Stan Lee himself and drawn by the late great French comic artist master Mobieus. It was a project that the two of them worked on after meeting at a Comic-Con and Stan Lee kind of fanboying over Mobieus and saying, hey, wouldn't it be great if we did a comic together? And Mobieus said that he always liked the Silver Surfer, and so Silver Surfer Parable was born. In this comic, it's set in the near future of the Marvel Universe. So not quite the present time in 1989 when they published it, but sometime in the little bit where Galactus returns to Earth. And he promised he would never destroy Earth, but he's working on a loophole to his promise where he never said he wouldn't incite humanity to destroy the Earth. And that's exactly what he does. Galactus shows himself to the general populace of the Earth, humanity in general, and he displays his power and starts a religion that revolves around himself as the deity of that religion, with humans worshiping Galactus, and Galactus preaching to them that they should no longer be held back by the bounds of morality, that they should do whatever it is they want to do. There's also a kind of televangelist who was always never a real religious person, but someone who is trying to gain power through religion. And he latches on to this new Galactus cult and declares himself to be Galactus's prophet and begins to create a kind of systematic religion that amasses lots and lots of power. And of course, the purpose behind all of this is for Galactus to incite the humans into creating so much chaos that they, in fact, destroy themselves and destroy Earth in the process. The Silver Surfer, as Galactus's former herald, can see through the lies of Galactus and see what he is really up to, and becomes the only one who is capable of standing up to Galactus and trying to thwart his schemes and reveal to the people of Earth that Galactus is not a benevolent deity who has their best interest at heart. The other thing about this 2-issue series, even though it is so brief, it is absolutely stunning in the artwork. Mobius, like I said, is one of the most renowned comic book artists in history. And his artwork in this comic is just stunning and beautiful in a way that American comic book artists, especially in this time, really weren't doing this style in general. And Mobius admitted that he actually was really terrified to do this comic because he had never tried to do an American superhero comic before. And particularly, he was terrified of drawing the Silver Surfer and Galactus because they were such established characters already. But as you can see from these clips I've given you, the end result, I think, is quite incredible and at times breathtaking. I also want to note that Lee and Mobius were the only people involved in the creation of this comic. Mobius insisted on not only drawing the art, but also coloring and lettering this entire comic on his own, which is pretty much unheard of in American comics. And as many people have noted, this art matches the philosophical and I would say theological nature of this comic. This comic is asking the big questions. What really makes a god? What is worth worshiping? And what are the qualities that really should be holding the focus of humanity? Is it power, like Galactus says it is? Or is it the things that the Silver Surfer represents, like love and logic and compassion for even the people who hate you? It is a great ride, and I do not think you will be disappointed at all by checking it out on Comixology or one of the many different graphic novel reprints that are out there. If you have enjoyed this episode of Back Issue Breakfast Club, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter of the podcast Back of the Cereal Box, or even the network that all of us are a part of. It gets you lots of free perks, such as early access to episodes of this show, like this very episode that you're watching right now. People got it a week early if they were a part of the Patreon. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/cerealboxpodcast. That's patreon.com/cerealboxpodcast. It can really help us out and help us to create more episodes like this and other content that you guys can enjoy and learn from. Until next time, have a great time, true believers. Keep the faith. Be steadfast. God be with you.
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi's.